Hey guys, this is a little different. So, essentially, I figured this game is the good opportunity to tell a story. Makes a good backdrop, you know what I mean? And it's a little different than the thing I normally play. Not that my channel has a ton of stuff on it anymore. My old channel's gone, thank God, and I don't really keep a lot on my current channel, but I'm going to tell you guys the story of the time my appendix tried to kill me. So, essentially, this was a couple of years ago. I was in my younger 20s, an irresponsible piece of shit. And we decided on Memorial Day weekend. Holy shit. Alright, there you go. Off to a good start. We decided on Memorial Day weekend that we were going to just like drink, eat junk food, and play games online all weekend. Memorial Day weekend rolls around, or Memorial Day, so the Monday. I'm laying in bed. It's like 3 a.m. I've done nothing but drink alcohol, eat garbage, and I'm laying in bed. I'm like, man, my side really hurts. Oh, maybe I just have gas or something. I mean, I did eat like a whole total dumpster fire the entire weekend, not really thinking anything of it. And then I wake up a couple of hours later in some of the most excruciating pain I have ever been in. Felt like somebody stabbed me with a knife. And I'm laying there, I'm like, oh my god. I hear my roommates kind of wiggling around in the other room, and I'm like, hey, I think one of you guys needs to take me to the hospital. And Brian kind of looks at me and he's like, okay. And this is abnormal for me. I don't go to the doctor unless something's really fucked up. So Brian's like, okay, I can take you to the hospital. You know, no big deal. So he takes me to the hospital, and I go, you should go home, and I will call you if I need like a ride home if you're not working or whatever, because I don't know how long I'm going to be here. I don't know what's wrong with me. I sit in the waiting room for like an hour. They finally let me into the room, and they're testing me for all kinds of shit. I peed in a jug with a fucking handle on it. They took so much blood, they put a thing in my arm so that they could just screw a little vial on there and it would fill up. They took a ton of it, and they gave me some like hospital grade ibuprofen. Quite a bit of it, I'm assuming, because the pain went away, but I could still feel in my body that something was wrong. It felt like a rubber band stretched taut inside my side, and I was like, man, it's such a bizarre feeling. The doctor or the nurse at this point comes in and goes, do you have a family history of diabetes? And I go, yeah, why? And she goes, yeah, your blood sugar is 794. And I went, is that good? And she goes, no. And I'm like, well, what is it supposed to be? A normal human blood sugar is supposed to be within 90 to 100. So, fucking scoreboard. Most blood sugar testers only go to like 999. It's like the big wallet in Zelda. There's no fourth digit, right? So, I'm like, okay, that's bad. And she goes, we're not sure what's wrong with you yet. We know you're probably diabetic, which is bad, but we're also going to test you for a couple of other things. So she goes, we're going to give you a MRI. And I go, okay, like with the big metal thing, like the donut that you slide me into? She's like, yeah. So I'm like, okay, cool. You know, I haven't showered in 3 days. I'm sweaty. I drank all weekend. At this point, I weigh probably pretty close to 300 pounds. I weigh 245 now and feel pretty good. But they gave me a napkin to wear. So I'm feeling real gross. One of the nurses is like the prettiest woman I've ever seen, right? So they roll me upstairs, put me on a different gurney, and go, okay, we're going to inject you with this dye, which will probably be a little uncomfortable. And then the nurse looks at me and goes, you might feel like you're going potty. Like I'm a child. And I'm like, okay. Potty, to my adult brain, means pee-pee. That is not what she meant. So, they inject me with what feels like fire ants. It burned as it went into my arm, and I'm laying there like fucking Bane from Batman, like, oh, I'm juicing, like, what the fuck? They roll me into this donut, and then I get the distinct feeling that I shit myself. Now keep in mind, I'm wearing boxers under like a shitty napkin dress that they gave me, and so I'm like subtly checking to make sure I didn't crap myself. And she keeps yelling at me for moving. I'm like, listen, I'm just trying to make sure I didn't poop my pants while you rolled me into an enclosed space. So, good news, didn't shit my pants. Bad news, my appendix is trying to kill me. They told me sometime later, they were like, yeah, it's really inflamed. The weird thing was, is the pain was on the wrong side of my body. Apparently that can happen. Human nerves are weird. I don't know. Which is what threw them off when they were trying to figure out what the fuck was wrong with me. And so they go, okay, well, you're going to need surgery. And I go, okay, cool. And they were like, yeah, you go up in an hour. And I went, oh, you meant today? And the nurse goes, yeah, we called your doctor. He's at the golf course right now, but he'll be here in a little while. He does appendix surgeries all the time. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I ruined his golf outing. You know, that sucks. And so I'm panicking. I've never had, like, major surgery in my life. I just started a new job at the time and had been there maybe 2 weeks. And so I'm like, shit. So the first thing I do is call someone at work who's not even my boss. I just call him and go, hey, give the boss my number, tell them what's going on, and have him get back to me. Super cool guy. Guy calls me like a minute later and he's like, hey man, take the time you need. Take like 2 weeks. Don't worry about your job. You have a place here when you come back. And I was like, sick, dude. I was worried. 2 weeks in, they were just going to, oh, fuck it. Just fire him and we'll hire a new guy. So I was like, okay, cool. Don't got to worry about that. So I then call my mom, and my mom freaks out, you know, because I'm her only kid, right? But I'm like, don't panic. It's probably fine. I more called her for my comfort, right? Because I've never had surgery a day in my life. So I'm laying there, and they give me my little baggie of clothes, and they go, okay, we're going to roll you upstairs and get you prepped for surgery. I said, okay. So they start rolling me upstairs. And this really handsome, like, Ken doll type guy starts walking next to my doctor. And he's like, hi, my name is whatever, you know, Kent Mansley. I'm Kent Mansley. That's the fucking guy from fucking Iron Giant. Where's the giant, Mansley? No. Whatever. Kent. His name was Kent. Lovely man. And he's explaining with my doctor all of the fucked up things that could happen to me while I'm on the surgery table. So he's like, oh, well, we could nick this artery and you could die, or we could cut this organ and then you would need emergency surgery. We could cut your colon and then you would need a colostomy bag. And I looked at him and went, yeah, I'm really good with women as it is. Give me a bag to shit in. Just level the playing field. And both of the nurses start laughing. And my doctor was one of the most straight-laced people I've ever met. Like, no sense of humor whatsoever. And so he looked at me and went, that's not funny. That's a serious thing that can happen. And I went, listen, man, I cope with humor, and I'm panicking a little. And they went, do you want anything for, you know, for anxiety? I said, no, it's fine. I'll be okay. They then rolled me into the morgue. And I'm not making this up. It was a room with a tile floor, the chest freezers for dead people, and a drain in the floor. And it was cold in there, and they rolled me in there and said, hey, this is kind of unorthodox. We're going to leave you in here because the prep room is full and your surgery room is still being cleaned and prepped for surgery. And I went, okay. And then they left me alone for half an hour at least, where I just laid in the morgue and went, huh, this is a weird day to confront my mortal coil. So I laid in there and I fucked around for a little while, and I don't even have my phone anymore. It's just me and my napkin. And then they roll me into the whitest room I've ever seen in my entire life. And in the corner is a Mr. Handy robot from Fallout, complete with buzzsaw hands. And I went, what the fuck is that thing for? And they went, oh, don't worry, that's not for you, that's for other stuff. And I'm like, okay. So they put me on the surgery table, they T-pose me like a Minecraft character, stick things on my legs that start kind of squeezing them, like alternating. And I'm like, what are those for? And they go, oh, that keeps your blood flowing while you're unconscious and on the operating table. And I went, oh. That seems important. So they lay me on the table. I'm looking around. They kind of strap me in or whatever. And I'm just kind of like, okay, well, what happens now? And then I look above my head, and my anesthesiologist, Kent, is filling the biggest syringe I've ever seen with what looks like milk. And I'm like, that doesn't go in my arm, does it? And he went, no. And then he stuck it in my arm. And the last thing I remember before going under was going, you lied to me. The next thing I know, I'm rolling down a hallway, or I kind of felt like I was rolling, and I was seeing the lights pass through my eyelids. And one of the nurses goes, oh shit, he's waking up. And I went, oh, that's probably not good. And then they rolled me around a corner and, like, helped me into a bed, and I'm laying there, and I'm kind of like, okay, well, did it work? And they were like, oh yeah, we took your appendix. I was like, can I see it? And they were like, nope, it's biohazard. We have to destroy it. I was like, what? I can't keep it? That's bullshit. I made it. It's mine. You should let me keep it. And the nurse thought that was funny, and my doctor was like, that's not funny. It's biohazardous waste. That guy, seriously, no sense of humor at all. So they leave. I'm like, okay, cool. Another nurse comes in. I've met like 16 people that day. She comes in. She's like, hi, I'm going to help you through recovery. So, you know, whatever. I'm going to need you to eat this. And she hands me a saltine. Not like a saltine like package, like just a solo cracker out of her pocket. And I'm like, okay. And then she's like, and then you need to take this. And she hands me a little pill. And I'm like, what is this? She's like, it's Vicodin. I was like, oh, sick. Dr. House. Cool. So I eat the saltine, which doesn't sound like a trial, right? But I had just gotten out of surgery, and that saltine was like eating the entire Sahara Desert to myself. It was the driest piece of shit I've ever had. I finally choke this cracker down. I take a little tiny sip, littlest baby sip of water I was allowed to take this Vicodin. And then I started crying. And she was like, oh no, what's wrong? And I was like, no, the nurse was really pretty, and she had really pretty blue eyes, and I feel like crap, and I look like crap, and I'm sweaty, and I did nothing but eat garbage all weekend, and I just haven't showered yet, and I'm tired. And she's like, okay, well, you can take a nap while your friends get here. And I said, okay. And I took a nap for some undetermined amount of time. It couldn't have been very long, because they did call my friends. So 2 of my roommates at the time show up. They help me into the car, and I'm sitting in Leah's passenger seat going, Leah, I'm gonna throw up. And she's like, do not throw up in my car. And I'm like, do I throw up? And she's like, you better not. So I put on Leah's very girly, like, pink, decorated with roses sunglasses, and leaned against the window and just kind of went, if I throw up, I'll roll the window down and just throw up all over the parking lot. We went to Walgreens, we got my medication, they took me home, and then they supervised me for like a week, where I would sleep on this little camp they built in the living room. They were such sweethearts. They took really good care of me. They gave me Gatorade Zeros, because we now found out I was diabetic, and they would watch me in shifts, and apparently I would just make like weird I'm possessed noises while I'm sleeping. I found out over time Vicodin makes me nauseous, but also gives me really, really weird dreams. And so I recovered fine. It was great. Horrible experience. But I then found out that your appendix can just try to kill you. Does it do anything? No. It's just an organ that we no longer have any need for, that sometimes just goes, you know what? You pissed me the fuck off. And then it just tries to kill you. So there's no preventative care. They took mine and went, well, we're going to examine it. And I went, listen, if you guys still don't know what causes appendicitis, I don't think I'm going to be the guy that, like, breaks the case. But you know what? Go ahead. But thanks for listening, you guys. I know this was a little different. I hope you enjoyed it. I might do another one of these, maybe 2. I have some ideas to start streaming, making regular content. I want to start editing my videos a little harder. This is just a little basic thing I'm going to throw up and kind of see how it does. I've been posting a lot of stuff on TikTok. I'll put a link to that down below if you guys want to check out the dumb, stupid shit that I post. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, and I will see you guys later. Love you!